Hey guys, today we'll be talking about ethical leadership, specifically deontology. Deontology is different from other ethical perspectives as it weighs the morality of your actions against the philosophical rules which govern them. Some perspectives, like utilitarianism or ethical egoism, look at the outcome of your actions to determine whether they are morally right. Further still, virtue-based theories state that the morality of an action is irrelevant in and of itself, but more importantly, the virtues of the actor should be the focus of attention. Deontology, on the other hand, is a set of philosophies that determine morality based on the actions you make and not the consequences they produce or the person who does them. Deontology proposes the idea that the leader has the right to do something if that thing is moral in its deliberation. That is to say, if the action adheres to the prescribed moral rules, then a leader would have the right to do it. One famous example of deontology is Kantianism, which expands upon these ideas. Kantianism introduces the ideas of perfect duty, hypothetical imperatives, and categorical imperatives. Hypothetical imperatives are things that you ought to do if you want something else. It is hypothetically imperative that you turn the lights off if you don't want your parents to yell at you. Categorical imperatives are something that Kant says you must do no matter your desires because they follow moral rules. He would say that you have a perfect duty to follow these rules, that it is not voluntary, but as a rational person you are morally bound. There are two main categorical imperatives, the first being the rule of universalization. Basically, it states that if you were to do an action, to determine its morality, imagine if everyone were to do it, and if this would negate the action itself. Imagine for a second that your boss approaches you and she tells you that she has a romantic interest in you, but to spare her feelings, you lie to her and say that you would be willing to date them were they not your boss. No matter how noble your intentions, Kant would argue that by doing this you are saying it is morally okay to lie. But then, if everyone lied, there would be no point in communicating with anyone if no one would ever believe anything anyone says. In this way, the action itself renders even lying in the first place moot. The second categorical imperative tells us that we have a perfect duty to treat people as ends in themselves. By this, Kant meant that we should never treat a person as a tool to achieve our desires, but to give them the basic human autonomy that they deserve. To go back to our previous example, imagine that in a fit of passion your boss tells her manager that she wants to quit her job so she can be with you. By lying to your boss, you've deprived her the ability to make a rational choice. If she had known that you didn't have any interest in her in the first place, she would have had more choices to consider. But by lying to her to get you out of that uncomfortable situation, you didn't respect her ability to make her own choices and thus cost her her job. Kant's ethical theories may seem too harsh for some, or too inflexible for a position as dynamic as leadership, but there's a lot of merit in the idea of reflecting on the reasons why you choose the actions you do. The basic idea of duties you have as a rational agent are undeniably important when deciding the morality of an action. To apply this type of thinking, one must only consider whether or not their action follows Kant's rules. Easier said than done, in leadership or life in general. Thank you.